and welcome to another writing vlog. Today I'm going to be working on my outline and I am very excited because I feel like things are starting to move along and I'm making more progress. I have been doing brainstorming and plotting and character stuff for so long. It's been months now. And I feel like now is just the appropriate time to move on to outlining. I will admit lately I've been feeling a little stuck in terms of the story, and I think it's because most of it still is in my head and I really need to get it down on paper. I feel like if I get it on paper and I have something visually to look at, I will do a lot better in terms of developing the story, finding plot holes, etc. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Stephanie. I am writing a fantasy book for the very first time with no experience. With that being said, since I have no experience, I honestly don't really have any clue how to do an outline for my book. I've researched different ways and different methods, and they're actually all kind of different. Some do chapter by chapter outline, some just do a regular kind of outline like you would for a paper or a book, and others tend to have like summaries and stuff before you start the outline. Since I don't really know what works best for me yet, I think what I want to do is a chapter by chapter outline. I'm going to be doing this in Excel primarily because I want the ability to cut and paste. I am going to do chapter by chapter. I'm going to have a chapter heading, and then I'm going to put in some blank lines in between each chapter and write individual plot points for each chapter. And I think this will help me because then while I'm working on my outline or while I'm writing, if I want to move things around in my outline, I can just do a simple cut and paste. And I don't have to worry about retyping things or reformatting things. It'll just be really easy. While I am looking very much forward to writing my outline, I'm a little nervous because I just don't know if my story is enough yet. And maybe this is something that writers struggle with. I don't really know, but sometimes I wonder as I'm plotting or trying to summarize certain things, I just feel like my story isn't fully developed. And I wonder if I do an outline, if I'll just keep getting stuck like I am right now, or if the outline will help me and move things along more quickly. And I'm really hoping it will help me and move things along more quickly. So I'm hoping that by doing this outline and getting closer to writing my story, that more ideas will flow and I'll create a more cohesive story. I am here in my very new writing area. I made a beautiful writing area the other day for myself. Since I have this nice little writing area, I am ready to get started on my outline and make more progress on this book. Done with my outline for now. It was actually really productive. My story right now follows a 3-act structure. First, I was obviously able to kind of create the format for my outline, but then I was able to plot most of the first act. And it was so helpful seeing it all listed out in order from chapter to chapter. I even made some adjustments already to the order I had things in my plot, because as I was just looking at, kind of the list of events and where they occurred, I was like, well, this doesn't really make sense. It would go better if it was here. So that was really cool to see this outline already helping me and already working. And I really did enjoy it. I have spent quite a bit of time working on it because I was trying to be very thoughtful about my ideas and where to put things and sequences of events. So it did take some time and a lot of thought. I am going to be done for today because tomorrow is a work day, and typically on Sunday nights I get ready by doing various things to prepare me for my work week. So I have to take a break from this for now. I'm not sure when I will get a chance to work on my outline again. This is something I really have to think about as I get more into the writing, is just making time to do it every day. And that's really important and something I haven't been doing, I will admit. So maybe I'll work on this tomorrow. Now that I have an outline and something to like physically work on, like a small project that needs to be done, I feel more motivated to do it. So I think it will be easier for me to be like, oh, I can just sit down for 15 minutes and work on this. I'm looking forward to getting even more done on my outline and possibly even like going back and filling things in. I did kind of think of some plot holes and stuff while I was doing my outline, so I'll have to think on those as well. But overall, this was a really good exercise, and I'm just looking forward to finishing this. Hello, it's a few days later, and I am back to outlining. I'm very excited to get back into it. The last exercise was just so fruitful, and I am just ready to get back in there. I spent the last few days kind of figuring out a little bit about what's next in my story. I've got the beginning pretty well planned out. The middle I was having a little bit of issues with, but I came up with some good ideas, which I wrote in my notebook, and I'm going to be putting those on my outline. And what'll be really interesting is there's a series of events, but I'm not sure what order I want the series of events to occur in. And I think this is where my outline will be really helpful, because I can review it and kind of decide what might sound good, what might need to move around, and things like that. I've got a few hours that I have dedicated to doing this, and my goal is to do like the second third of the book, because like I said before, it's a 3-act structure. I really did well on the first act, and the second act is what my focus is going to be today. I do have to say that doing this outline has made me more excited to write. I've kind of been feeling a little bit, I don't know, ambivalent, I guess, about my writing journey, because I was doing brainstorming for so long and I was getting frustrated with not coming up with new ideas, and the outlinings really helped. I've really got a good flow going in terms of my creativity and my thought process, and just doing something different and doing something that is more concrete working towards my book has been exhilarating, honestly. I'm ready to get back into it, so now I just have to see how far I get today. A little post outline update for you. I did spend about 2 hours working on this. It was a significant portion of time, and I don't feel as confident about this part as I did the first act. And I think it's because the second act has always been the least strong in my mind. But having this outline format really helped, because I initially wrote a sequence of events, how I thought it would go. And then as I was reviewing the outline and trying to think of the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter, I kind of started to think to myself, this outline's not, the story isn't really flowing the way I want it to. So I was able to rearrange some things, take some things out, redo some things, and I came up with a totally new sequence and a little bit of a different direction to the story. I did stop because I got a little bit stuck with the story. I expected this to happen. Honestly, I didn't think this would be as easy as it was the other day with the first act. But regardless, I still had a really great time doing this. It's just so much fun to plan out a story and see it on paper. The weekend is coming up and it's supposed to rain all weekend, which is awful, but that means I get more time to work on the book, I guess. So hopefully I can finish up the outline this weekend, and it may not be perfect, but at least it'll be a nice general outline. One thing I have noticed is that I'm outlining the plot in terms of the actions of the characters. So this is happening, and then this is happening, and this is happening, and the characters are going here and here and here. And what I'm not really outlining is more of the character development. So how people's relationships change or how their perception of self changes. And I really think that that's important to put in the outline, because stories are more about character development than they are about people going from place to place to place. And right now I'm planning kind of the logistics of the story, but I'm not really planning the heart of the story. And I really need to get into that. But I think I want to plan the logistics of the story first so I can find the best places to put the heart. So I'm taking a break from this for the rest of the night. And I will do a little bit of a writing exercise probably. And then I hope to pick this back up this weekend. This is going to be the last run in trying to make my outline. And I have a little bit of a different strategy in regards to what I was talking about yesterday, where I was just putting in a lot of logistical plot points and I wasn't really putting in like the character stuff or the fantasy stuff in my outline. It got me to thinking about my strategy overall. And I think making an outline in one go, a complete outline in one go, was probably a little ambitious. So my goal today is to finish my outline, but it's just going to be logistical. I'm not going to put in any character stuff. I'm not going to put any magic stuff unless it's like super important to the logistics. And I'm just going to say, how does the character or characters go from A to B to C to D and so on. And the reason I want to do this is because as I was going through this yesterday and doing this, I have quite a few scenes in my head that I want to write, and I'm not really sure where to put them in the book. And one thing I was struggling with yesterday was I had all these logistical plot points, but I was really struggling. Like, I felt like I needed to put these scenes in before I could move down the outline and determine the order of these scenes while I was writing the outline. And I think upon reflection, it's probably better to put these scenes in after I have the general outline, so that way I can rearrange them or put them in an order that makes sense. I have a few hours today, and I'm going to really make a sprint and try and get my rough outline complete. And then what I'll do over the coming days and probably weeks, maybe a few weeks, is just try and refine this outline. I want to add in all those finishing touches, put in the character arcs, things that have to do with relationships, things that have to do with hints. Like, I want to put in, where is foreshadowing in the book. I want to do a little more brainstorming too to see if I can finesse the plot a little bit and make it run more smoothly. And I think by having the rough general outline first as guidance, that will really help me build like a more complete outline. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, and hopefully within a few hours, I will have it complete. Done with my outline. It is very rough, especially towards the end, but I think it was really helpful for me to just hash out all my thoughts really quick and then build upon the outline. It is so exciting to have my whole story laid out, even though it's in very rough shape. I'm glad to have the beginning, middle, and end kind of mapped out. And what's interesting is as I was going through and just adding in the really rough plot points, I started having realizations about where scenes needed to go, which was what I was just talking about that I was having difficulty with. So obviously I'm doing kind of the right thing. What I'm going to do over the next few weeks is just fill in these different scenes that I have in my head and build on the plot a little more, build on the character and the relationships. And hopefully in the next few weeks, I will have a really nice complete outline. It's not going to be super detailed, like I'm not going to put every single little thing that happens in every chapter, but I think it will be useful to have 5 to 10 main points in each chapter, so that way I'll have some guidance and it'll help me structure my story. So hopefully in a few weeks I will start writing my book, but until then I'm just going to be working on my outline a little bit more.